Yo. Hello. Welcome to the Gokanaru Clips YouTube channel. Today we have a very special little ASMR segment for you. It's late at night. We're getting a little bit cozy here. But our boy, NickisNotGreen, very good friend of the channel, has uploaded a final kind of video, I guess, reflecting on the SuperMega, controversy, I guess you could say, that transpired almost a year ago now. It certainly devolved into quite a saga for NickisNotGreen. To give you a really quick recap, effectively what happened was a woman by the name of Lex Updog came out with allegations against a guy named Don DRRR, who was a channel artist for SuperMega, and on top of these allegations of SA, she tacked on basically allegations toward the main two guys of SuperMega, Matt and Ryan, saying basically that they were complicit in kind of trying to hide or cover up this essay. And so effectively, after Lex uploaded her video, NickisNotGreen immediately jumped and created a video sensationalizing and kind of, grasping at the opportunity to cancel these big name creators and kind of come out as a hero. Now, what transpired in the months following that was a lot of skepticism being thrown onto Lex's story. A decent amount of it, most of it in fact, pretty warranted, more or less. And effectively, what slowly NickisNotGreen, I guess, fell out of favor with Lex and, EthanIsOnline. The people that Nick originally, came out and tried to, I guess, support, or, callously kind of jumped on the wave because he saw blood in the water. He basically went from, being friends with them to not really talking or associating with them at all. The people who I guess came out against SuperMega more or less had a falling out between them that was pretty vicious. And over time, Nick was heavily in denial initially. Basically made I think 2 videos and a couple posts doubling down, tripling down on these allegations, and the fact that the hate or the criticism being levied toward him was unwarranted and unnecessary, until eventually, after a 3rd or maybe 4th video, I believe 4th, he basically said, "You guys are right. I'm sorry. I messed up." And he basically fully, I guess you could say, abandoned, more or less, Lex Updog and her narrative. Well, of course, I guess maintaining, the fact that she was essayed, or at least that he believed her story. And so I created many videos on this channel poking at Nick, and in my opinion, validly, friend of the channel Jimmy Robbins, as well as Turkey Tom, both made pretty large-scale videos outlining, the way that Nick really messed up, but also kind of cynically and opportunistically jumped on this situation. And yeah, I mean, what we basically saw at the end of the day, especially after that Jimmy Robbins video, because our boy Jimmy Robbins, he's a lot harder to write off to a guy like NickisNotGreen than Turkey Tom, because Jimmy Robbins, basically after the Jimmy Robbins video, NickisNotGreen's own fans were like, "Wait a minute, Nicholas, what have you done?" And so yeah, he actually started to get hate, which is when he started to listen, which is the typical order of things usually, right? His hard head was bashed in basically. And now, many months more or less have passed, about 3-4-ish months since Nick has created any, maybe even 6 months, since Nick has created any videos about this controversy. and he has uploaded a video to his 3rd channel. He said us. The video is titled, "Why I Stopped Making Videos." And I think it would be worthwhile for us to kind of do a little case study to, react to the video and just see what we think about it. Because at the end of the day, despite, whatever people will say, I do think that, our coverage of Nick's situation was pretty fair, even though I was a little bit vicious, but I do think it kind of called for that before he owned up to everything. But in spite of that all, my boy Nick, if you're watching, let's see what you got, bro. Let's see what kind of reflecting you've been doing. I'm kind of curious. I won't cap. I'll say this much right out the gate. I respect Nick a lot, purely for the fact that he actually seems, so far, to have actually stopped making drama videos. We'll see if that's, just because he wants to lay low for a bit, and he might return to it if the numbers don't come back up. But so far, it kind of seems like our boy's, changing his brand or whatever. He's actually, taking this to heart and is trying to, I guess, evolve past needing to talk about drama. Something that we're not going to do. Anyway.
If you're watching this, then you're probably aware of it. Last year, I made some really bad mistakes with my platform. I was criticized a lot, and I was under a lot of public scrutiny for it. And even though a lot of problems that I had with the platform were pre-existing before this controversy, this is what kind of caused me to finally, I guess, face the unhealthy relationship that I had with my job. I was pretty reckless with the things that I said and the things I posted, and for a long time, it was really hard for me to face that criticism head on. It took me a long time to actually listen to what people were saying to me, because it was really hard for me to actually look at the things that people were saying about me online in the first place. And so I just ignored it.
Yeah, basically what Nick's describing here is a cycle that, a lot of fresh-faced YouTubers go through. Unfortunately, I'm a bit of a decade-long veteran at this point, so I'm past this cycle. But he was a very lucky individual. He'd only been doing YouTube for 3 years, and he popped off fast and hard, dude. And what happens when you pop off fast and hard? Well, you have a meteoric rise. Your life changes completely, and it's just like constant dopamine success. It's working, dude. It's working. This is the greatest job ever. And you can kind of get caught up in this cycle where it's like you just expect everything to go your way. And now the fantasy, which he's been living for the last 3 years, seems to have kind of popped, in the sense of like this awesome job where he has influence and he feels like he gets to do the right thing, and he also gets to make money, and it's like his career, and he meets all these cool people. Suddenly he feels way more alienated from this profession. You know what I mean? Like he feels awkward talking to other people in the profession because he feels like he embarrassed himself. He doesn't feel as comfortable with his audience because they did kind of turn on him after the Jimmy Robbins video. And now that he's not making drama content, he's not making much money, I don't imagine, from his uploads. Yeah, I'm very curious. I like, look, I'm just going to say, like, the vibe I get is this guy, he's an authentic dude to an extent, I really do. The vibe I get, honestly, is that he was convinced when he initially made his, video supporting Lex, he did convince himself that the reason he was making these videos was to help his friend. But that was cope. But he believed it, but it was cope, okay? And so now we're experiencing a guy who seems to have a little bit more of a, like, cerebral, whatever you would say, like a thoughtful reflection, of what his content was, which was, schlock, like, whatever. It was kind of jumping on cancellation waves, on weird TikTok dramas, and not really providing very much nuance. He was, as I like to put it, he was basically throwing red paint onto, problematic individuals and fueling whatever fire there was of hatred toward them, or like outrage, whatever. And so other than this facial hair, there's really not much crime being committed in this video so far. I'm kind of liking it.
for a really long time. Even though the way I posted content was already in a bad place before these things happened, I ended up developing an even worse relationship with my job because I had horrible reactions looking at hate comments and what people would say about me online. It's still something that I'm not numb to.
Yeah, this is fair, man. It's not easy to get like heavily shit on online, and this is something that H3H3 has described, you know, as me as someone who contributed to this. But of course, bro, nobody likes, especially when you go from being the hot tamale. Nobody likes when suddenly, you know, the floor falls from under you and you're not cool anymore. Yeah, I mean, usually it only gets to that point when you've been, you know, reinforced, having yes man, all this shit. Like when you haven't been, you know, paying attention to any criticism for a while.
I see it on an accident a lot, and it's still something that affects me pretty heavily. Even deciding to make this video and be honest about how hard it did hit me, it is still hard to not be embarrassed or sound like I am,
hey man, it's all good,
victimizing myself for being unable to post videos because of my own actions. And after months and months of hiding from making and posting videos, my anxiety had closely attached itself to my ability to create videos and to really do anything that has to do with my job.
I've experienced this before. I've gone through a lot of cycles on this platform, bro. And this is definitely a cycle, okay? In the case of Nick, he went from basically daily uploads of drama slop that were working, dude. We're getting like 500k views plus. It was working. And then you stop, and then you can't make drama content. And when you do upload something, it gets way less views because it's not drama content, even if you put a lot more work into it. And yeah, this is this is like a tough arc that not a lot of content creators overcome. So, we'll see how adaptive this guy is. But yeah,
making those mistakes in front of so many people and seeing the way that the backlash affected my friends and my family and myself, it added to the already very intense feelings that I had around the situation that I found myself in. And months ago, I realized how bad it really was. Being in the environment, shooting videos in my office, being around friends that I met through the internet, talking and reaching out to my close friends and family members about how I'm doing, and even my relationship being with somebody that is online and who has been affected by this. It has really frozen.
Yeah, he's basically saying, dude, this internet, this got real, dude. This really started to actually fuck with my life.
Me in a way that nothing really has before, and it ended up affecting really every part of my life, and it became even harder to talk about because of how much embarrassment I have around the fact that I brought these things on myself. A lot of the advice that people give you when you find yourself in this scenario,
he is very contrite, and that basically means he's very like placing blame or guilt on himself. And I think that's a good thing, because dude, he did fuck up in this situation. So I'm glad that like we're past the coping arc and all this. But yeah, man, let's see what he's got to say.
Is to keep pushing ahead so people forget about all the shit you did.
This is facts, what he's describing. In reality, especially when it comes to like, if you make content that doesn't fully rely on your personality, which his didn't, okay, it was Drew, just daily kind of drama slop, whatever you would say. You can push through if you just keep uploading. But he did choose to stop, not upload. And so he might go into why he did that, but in my head, it's like probably partially because he agreed that his content was, harmful, or at the very least, not very inspiring
in the past. And people constantly try to remind you that the things that people say about you online are not the way that like reality is and the way that people actually feel about you. But that's not really something that is easy to believe when you see the criticism face.
Look, what he's saying is that he's been terminally online for the last 3 years. Okay. All of his friends are internet people, more or less, seemingly, at least that he's been hanging out with lately. His, girlfriend is an online content creator. She's been receiving hate comments. Yeah, he's kind of terminally online. And so when you're terminally online and you receive criticism for videos, it literally feels like your fucking world is falling apart.
First, and you also believe that you did something very wrong. I continued to find myself in this loop of trying to figure out how to put myself back out there in a way that was healthy, but feeling all of that anxiety and shame. It didn't really feel like a controversy that I could bounce back from, like I've seen with other creators. It's not
interesting. Okay, so he's basically saying it didn't feel like he could bounce back. Okay, I don't know what he means by that, but let's see.
Not something that I can easily block out. I hold on to a lot of the mistakes I make, and I think about them every day. And
okay, so he's basically saying, like, psychologically, this took a toll. So it's like, I could have kept uploading videos, but it was bothering me, which is fair enough, man. I mean, I guess it's, to me, another sign, like, this guy's pretty genuine, you know what I mean? Like, he ain't a sociopath.
Even though I know that I'm growing and I know I want to move on and I want to do things in a better way, I also know that a lot of people wouldn't care if I didn't do that. And that's a hard thing to accept when your job is constantly being affirmed by strangers online who want to see what you're doing. And again, I caused the...
That's fascinating. So he's basically saying, like, he realizes there's a separation. He doesn't have to be a better person to be successful on YouTube. The correlation is not there. He's basically saying, like, I understand logically in my head that I can keep making dog content and I can keep getting rewarded, and there will be people who continue supporting me and watching and being like, dude, hell yeah. But there would be the awareness in my mind of, like, this is not me operating the way that I should be operating. Interesting.
These things to happen to myself and the people around me. So it's even more embarrassing for me to finally just kind of talk about it, because I can't really bring myself to talk about anything else. And
I respect that he acknowledges it as embarrassing. That's kind of fascinating to me.
As time moved on, I continued to struggle finding the confidence to do what I was doing before, and the pressure of knowing that this is the way that I also support myself, and that this is... The hell? I'm shooting.
There's a ghost. Yeah, it's funny that he's like acknowledging that LA rent. Look, I'm not gonna cap. I think that Nick has made a ton of money in a really small amount of time, but hey, man, money doesn't last forever, you know. So I don't know. He's probably not sweating, but definitely hasn't been making more than he's been spending lately, I'd bet, more or less.
Reading this while fireworks are going off on the 4th of July. And I've never really struggled with anxiety like I have in this way, this like all-encompassing way, where because this is like my career and it's what I envisioned myself doing, when I don't have hope that that is working out, there's nothing else to distract me. Every facet of my life becomes sort of taken over by this anxiety that I don't know what I'm going to do with my life.
Look, see, again, so there's a few things that goes into this. His career, right? So his future, right? He's terminally online, so this is like the world that he operates in, you know what I mean? And the genuine shame, genuinely feeling like you did something wrong, okay? Those three factors, variables, whatever you'd say, very potent on the psyche, okay? And I have experienced this personally. The weird difference, though, is that how I experienced this was through, you know, my first initial video that got me, you know, popular or whatever, my H3H3 video. I literally felt like I committed a fucking crime. And in a way, I did simulate committing a crime in that video. I felt massive amounts of guilt, but I also got celebrated for it. So it was like a weird, you know, experience on my psyche. Whereas in this case, in Nick's case, dude, he got humbled. Let's put it like that. You know what I mean? He got million+ view videos pointing out every little fucking dumb, opportunistic, self-centered, manipulative thing that he, you know, had done. Whether he was conscious of it or not, it happened. And so, yeah, he really got fucking smacked down a peg.
I never get over this and I can't post videos again. And it was a journey even making this video, which has kind of been another effort to just try to get myself comfortable doing it again and figuring out how to do it in the way that I did it when I first started doing YouTube. I loved making videos because I was talking to a community and there felt like there was an exchange there of an audience and someone who was creating something for a group of people. And I think now more than ever, I've felt the disconnect between myself and that audience. And it's a really isolating thing, especially when it's something that came so naturally to me for such a long time, and to find myself with so much anxiety even making this video right now. It's a very scary thing to realize. Me trying to overcome this has been something that's been going on for a while. I actually spent weeks working on this video that I wanted to put out on the day that I left for tour. And
so I think this is him showing that he's tried to make this 2 times before this. Interesting.
Spent all these days worrying about it leading up to it, and I never ended up putting it out. I left home for a month and I had a lot of time to process away from creating videos, but when I came back thinking that things might be different, I found it even harder somehow. I tried making a different video similar to this just yesterday, and it took me so long to build up the courage to actually even hit record, and I sat there for 2 hours just trying to find the words of...
Been there, brother. Been there. You don't need to be through some massive fucking controversy when you've fallen off the wagon, when you haven't talked to your audience for fucking 2 years. There's a lot of uncertainty that, you know, falls into that, right? Like wondering if people even give a fuck, which most of the time they don't really, you know what I mean? Yeah. What
is on my mind and how I can convey that in a way that like resonates with people. And even after spending all day trying to prepare myself to do something as simple as just like yapping to the camera for an hour, I could not bring myself to get past the first couple minutes, and I gave up and decided to try it again today with a little bit more of a script. Anyways, I yapped a lot, but I want to talk about the reason why I'm making this video. I came up with the idea of trying to post lower stakes content that is easier for me to just talk about in an organic way, and if I can just get myself more comfortable posting these quick videos that don't take as much effort, then it might be easier for me. Jesus, there's so many fireworks outside. I just want to talk about stuff that I like. And I feel like for a long time, I talked about stuff that the algorithm wanted me to talk about. And I want to do what I originally liked doing on YouTube.
Okay, Nicky boy, ole fuck. This I respect. I do respect. However, my friend, the algorithm will fucking punish you. Okay? You will really need to have a resilience. And maybe even creativity. If you really want to actually make content that you want to make, that isn't just feeding the algorithm, because the algorithm's a heavy-handed motherfucker, okay? And when you stop following, you know, the waves, the rational content that's algorithmically juicy, YouTube systems pick up on that, okay? We'll see though.
Which is just getting on camera and talking about things I care about, whether it's 21 Pilots or scary storytelling YouTubers or Crumble Cookie, anything. Just put it online. That's my issue, is I can't finalize something and put it out there anymore. And I knew that in order to just get back,
been there, bro,
and make videos as if nothing happened, I would need to confront and talk openly about what's going on with me right now. It is something that's currently affecting me so much more than I'd like to admit, or that I think people would ever really realize. Because of what's happened, I've experienced so much growth, and I've put myself in so many situations where I've challenged the things I believe and the kind of person I am. And so it has brought me to a point where I feel like I can be a person that I'm proud to be.
I want him to get more specific about what these, you know, circumstances, situations exactly are. Here's what I'll say. Nick, I do understand this feeling you're describing, all this shit. I think that for the audience, the viewers, whatever you would say, these, you know, are people usually who have no real context, no frame, no understanding of what it is like to be the fucking, you know, the leader, the conductor of an audience, whatever you would say, you know what I mean? And that makes sense as to why you got so much support, people rallying behind you when you would make videos, kind of jumping aggressively onto cancellation waves, is because the audience was like, dude, fuck yeah, dude, they deserve it. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Basically what I'm saying is that it is a lot easier for the audience to not have that empathy or whatever you would say to, you know, other people. And this might sound fucking ironic coming from me, but, you know, the difference that I'd like to think is that when I make a video really shitting on someone, I'm aware that that's what it is. I'm not just like trying to take necessarily a fucking moral high ground and look down on them. At least I'd like to think, right? I'm aware. I'm like, yes, this is me attacking them. Whereas the vibe I got from Nick's old videos was like, this is gross. This person's a bad person. They're evil, whatever you would say. And so we got to write them off, or we got to, you know, they deserve their cancellation, etc. That's a lot easier content to make when you have a audience who are resentful, who want to see people get fucking torn down a peg while also feeling morally superior. Yeah.
But at the same time, the way that my anxiety is so connected to this job and my relationship with the internet and an audience, it's made things very complicated. I had such an unhealthy relationship with all these things, and it took something big like this happening to have me reevaluate all of it. I wouldn't go back and change anything because I know that I'm so different now and I approach things so differently than I did a year ago.
Here's what I'll say. I wish he would acknowledge Jimmy Robbins' video or something. You know what I mean? I wish he would have some acknowledgement of like, okay, these videos were warranted. You know what I mean? Or like, here's what I got from this video. But fair enough. You can vague post, my friend. It's fine.
Ago, and if I didn't find myself under so much criticism and I didn't find myself in a situation where I had to stop posting, I don't think I would have changed. I don't think I would have been doing things differently. I think I would have just carried on making the same kind of videos, saying the same types of things about people, trying to constantly outperform myself and game the algorithm and have this sort of competitive outlook on it. It caused me to stop enjoying YouTube altogether. It's something that I enjoyed as like a creative output for myself. It became this stressor that felt like it was always weighing on me unless things performed the best they possibly could. For months I was living at home and struggling so hard, trying to figure out how I was going to continue moving through life when I lost so much of what I felt like made me who I am. And just last month, that timeline of just being at home and ruminating and everything that happened finally stopped because I left home for a month and I just got back. I was on tour with my band, and that ended up being an experience that completely changed the way I feel about what I want to do with my life and the way I feel about entertainment and performance. And I got to meet a lot of people who reminded me why I love doing what I do, and who especially helped me realize that there are so many more things I want to accomplish within entertainment and who I am and what I do. I felt that community again that I had when I first started YouTube, and it reminded me how much it made me happy before it.
Okay, so Nick is lucky in the sense that he is not talentless. He is not talentless. His videos are mid. Okay, the ones I've seen and per whatever. Okay, but he is a musician, a competent one, bro. He's not a bad musician from everything I've seen. And so I'm glad that, you know, he has that outlet, that passion that he can explore, that is probably, you know, a potential avenue for his career, but also just like something that allows him to escape the bubble that is creating content. Because, bro, sure, gaming an algorithm is a skill. That is a skill. But it's not the same as like being creative or whatever you would say. It's not the same, because gaming an algorithm, it's really a test in how rational you can act. And a lot of creativity, inherently irrational. So that's why creativity and the algorithm, it's a fucking tough balance, my friends. And when I say it's a tough balance, I mean you don't get rewarded in the vast majority of cases for being creative. You can, of course, you can, but that is the exception, okay?
It felt like...
Oh, and for the record, we do aim to be exceptions here, okay? But, you know, we also try not to be delusional.
All of those views and that audience turned into this thing that I had to maximize to make myself feel good. Does any of that make sense? I feel like I'm yapping a lot and it doesn't make sense, but I have to commit to making this video because I don't know, I'm running out of ideas. And so
here's the thing that I'll say though, Nicky boy. It's fine. What he's doing, dude, it's his life. He can do whatever he wants. It makes sense. I want to do more personality-based content so that you're watching me for me and I can just be myself and it's lower stakes and I don't have to talk about other people and feel like a leech. Fair enough, my friend. That makes total sense. But you are kind of letting go of an opportunity here to cover drama content, but with a little bit more of a nuanced or a little bit more empathetic lens. You could have done that. You could have harnessed this, whatever you would say, resentful audience that you have accrued and started trying to inject, you know, a little bit of a deeper level of thought or like a little bit more empathy, whatever, into your commentary. However, he's kind of seemingly trying to take more of like an iDubbbz route right at the moment, okay? Which basically means, yeah, fuck that. I don't want to do criticism content or like commentary. I don't really want to do, I don't want to talk about any of that shit, okay? I'm going to kind of abandon the audience that wants that and just double down on the audience that wants to fucking vibe with me, you know what I mean? And it's fair enough, but a bit of a missed opportunity in my opinion.
I want to try this out. And there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about that I haven't had the chance to talk.
Because those resentful people, they're just going to go to other content creators. They're just going to get absorbed into other audiences that are probably doing something similar to Nick, you know what I mean? But anyway.
Talk about online, and I want to stop putting the pressure of making some big video that's going to perform really well. I just want to make something that I care about and talk about something I care about for an audience of people who are still there to support me. I don't necessarily deserve a second chance. I don't really think I deserve people's trust, but I do want to love doing this again in a healthy way. And I feel like I have a different perspective that I want to share with the world. And so I think I'm going to try it. And if people are interested in seeing what I want to talk about, then I would appreciate that. And I will hopefully continue to make videos, at least on this channel, sharing dumb bullshit. I'm very thankful for the people watching who have enjoyed.
Okay, fair enough, man. All right, so we get the point. To give you some last, I guess you could say, final words on this little fella by the name of Nicky Boy. We have endured the full, and I mean full, arc of Nick is Not Green on this channel. Okay, I don't know how many of you have been, you know, observing this with me on this roller coaster ride. It has been a roller coaster ride, but now we are safely docking ourselves at the end of the ride, I think, and we can, you know, go on to other rides. So I want to go over some of the things that we kind of learned along the way, you know, analyzing and interpreting Nick's actions. Number one was that the Nietzschean slave morality, okay? This is something that in my mind is just really undeniable, okay? Nicky Boy really, truly did operate with a decent degree of resentment in his prior content, okay? And what do I mean by that? I mean that he wasn't just jumping on these cancellations totally cynically. He kind of bought into it. And he kind of also was, you know, exerting like a disgust, a hatred for the people he was talking about, seemingly unconsciously so, you know what I mean? And that manifests in, you know, him, again, yes, opportunistically just shitting on SuperMega in a really reckless manner. This resentment, right, this mixing the resentment with a sense of, you know, moral superiority, which he really was doing, that is in a real sense a Nietzschean slave morality, which basically means, I don't know exactly how you would put it, but it's like basically he would turn his weakness kind of into strength or whatever you would say. It's like you take the hateful intention that you have, right, or like this resentment that you're keeping deep down inside of you, and you're really acting resentfully, but you frame as a way to basically exert this resentment, you frame your attempts at vengeance or whatever as like, I'm doing what is morally right. I am the servant of God. And even though Nick, while he did grow up apparently super religious, even though Nick nowadays seems to be more of like an atheist type, whatever you would say, absolutely, you know, still has that kind of strange moralistic, I guess you could say moralistic superiority or whatever you would say, like holier than thou energy. And there's a lot of this holier than thou energy in, you know, these kinds of heavy canceling circles, right? Where, you know, you just want to dismiss people, you just want to tear them down, right? Not criticize them sometimes necessarily, right? Like, was it criticism what he did to SuperMega, or was it leveraging allegations in a way that both benefited him and destroyed, you know, the people he hates? And so that's why I say that Nick, I think, is relatively genuine, because yeah, he made such blatant mistakes that it's like, okay, this guy's probably smoking too much weed, but it's also that I think he believed himself. And guess what? Historically, for sure, but just in general, people who believe that they are, you know, doing the right thing, the, whatever you would say, the moral, you know, superior, people who are really truly convinced, they believe their own myths, right? These are the people who oftentimes are the most dangerous, you know what I mean? Especially if they're leaders, right? If they're leading other people. You don't want the leaders of a bunch of people believing completely, without any, you know, self-analysis, without any scrutiny, that they're morally superior, right? Because it just leads to hysteria. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what I got. I don't know, I could keep yapping about this fellow, but I wish him no ill will. I hope that, you know, he succeeds in his quest to create a more, you know, personality-focused channel. We'll see, you know what I mean? We'll see. He might have the chops, but I'm not super certain. I know his girlfriend's certainly pretty solid. Like, her content is very comedically based. And so, yeah, maybe they'll be able to leverage something. I believe it. He had a successful gaming channel, I think. And so, yeah, Nick is not green, you know, at the end of the day. You, my friend, I hope, going forward, beyond, you know, making better content, beyond, you know, seeing success, whatever, I hope that you become a better friend, okay? Or make better friends, whatever you would say, because yeah, that was probably the biggest L, and the moment when I really like lost favor for you was when I realized basically like, this guy's not a good friend. If you're gonna abandon your friends after a controversy like this, you're probably not that good of a friend. You know, but who am I, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, make some friends, manifest your ambitions, and be careful when you act with resentment, okay? Be aware when you act with resentment. That's the most important thing. Awareness, okay? Nick, our boy, he wasn't aware, and now he is. And he's chosen, seemingly, to change what he does. And so, good luck. And yeah, I'll talk to you next time on the Gokanaru ASMR YouTube channel. Oh, shit. One sec. Boom. You see this? This is drip, my friends. Straight up drip. Okay? Only available at the gokamerch.com store. Escape, boy. Wow. Escape the Matrix, my friends. Just like our boy Nick. Wow. For a limited time, the Escape sweater, okay? There's no hoodie on this variant. You can buy it without a hoodie. And look at how clean it looks, bro. This is a solid sweater. Wow. I would wear this literally any day, okay? Not too heavy, not too light, just right. Wow, only the gokamerch.com store. While you're at it, pick up this beautiful Puppet Master hat, which goes quite well. Look at this shit, dude. I look like, I don't know, I belong in Mr. Robot or something. Very cool. The fit is immaculate tonight. Hell yes. So yeah, thank you for watching, and go to gokamerch.com, pick up the Escape the Matrix sweater. Bye-bye.